Good evening and welcome to the September meeting of the Norwalk Parking Authority. We have the agenda on the screen, and first we'll have a call to order. Brian, would you?
Sure. Eric Raids.
Here.
Matthew Seebeck.
Present.
Judd Ailey.
Here.
Peter Fulham.
Here.
Jessica Larsh.
Here.
Thank you.
Great.
Everyone is here.
Thanks, everyone. The first order of business is the minutes from. I guess we're doing both of those, or what's? Oh, the
yes.
Yeah.
So in August we didn't have enough votes to pass the July 24th because I think Matt was not present, so we had to table it for today. So we have to take 2 votes for each of those meetings.
Okay, so if everyone's okay, we'll act on these together.
So moved.
Thank you, Matt. Is there a second?
Second.
Great, thanks, Jess. So that carries. The public participation section is we would appreciate it if everyone limits their comments to 3 minutes. And please keep in mind that that this is an opportunity for us to hear what you'd like to share with us, and it's not really intended to be a dialogue, so that the board can take the input and do with it what needs to be done as a follow-up. So is there anyone from the public who wishes to speak?
If anybody would like to speak, can you please raise your hand electronically?
So
Kelly, you are unmuted.
Oh.
Hi, everyone. My name is Kelly Tomlinson. Brian, I just wanted to make sure it was okay. I talked now about the request that we put out.
Yeah. So just so the board's aware, one of the agenda items is the Norwalk Health Department they're requesting for us to install suicide and crisis lifeline signs, and Kelly's here just to kind of give an overview of it. I didn't want to keep her for the entire meeting, so I thought it would be best to allow her to speak on behalf of that item that's coming up, if that works out.
So Brian, it sounds like there may be questions related to that. So yes, this is the public participation, but I think are we trying to make a decision tonight, or what's the end goal?
Yes, we would like the decision. So I think the proper procedure would be to suspend the rules and then move the new business as a priority before the public participation.
Well, I think we should finish public participation and then just that ask to change the order and then just take it out of order and then at that time. But we should just allow the public participation. You could move it up at the end, but I wouldn't conflate the two, because I think to Eric's point, wants to just maintain this as a comment period, and if we change it for one, we should change it for all.
Yeah. Okay, so let's continue with public. Kelly, if you'll just hold on for a few minutes.
No worries.
Let's continue with public participation opportunity.
We have no one else raising their hand.
Okay, great. Thanks, Elaine. So I'd like to propose that we move item 6B up the agenda before report, so we can hear from Kelly.
So moved.
Thank you. Thank you, Peter. Okay, Kelly, it's all yours.
All right. Thank you so much for changing your agenda for me. I appreciate that. And thank you, Brian, for giving us the chance to speak, and Norwalk Parking Authority for hearing us out. My name is Kelly Tomlinson. I'm the health educator with the Norwalk Health Department, and I believe my colleague Brianna Herrera is also on the call, who is working on this grant opportunity with us. We had submitted a letter of request to the Norwalk Parking Authority to have 988 suicide and crisis lifeline signage placed in Norwalk parking garages. We are hoping for the 2, Norwalk ones, the Maritime Garage and the Yankee Doodle. I was not sure if the Sono Collection Garage was part of Norwalk Parking Authority, but I would love to throw that one out there as well. But I wanted to provide just a brief background as to where this kind of request came from in our work in suicide prevention. And so the Norwalk Health Department has received a grant from the Connecticut Department of Public Health for the CDC's Comprehensive Suicide Prevention Initiative, which really takes a public health approach to suicide prevention. We were requested to have this grant in 2022, with the work starting in 2023. And so for about over 2 years now, we've been working pretty intensively to help bring in suicide prevention, response, and initiatives into the city. We were chosen, unfortunately, we were chosen for this grant due to Norwalk suicide rates. And so this was not one that we applied for and received funding for. It was that they had reached out to us to help make, partnerships and really help move along, activities that would reduce risk factors for suicide while promoting protective factors to around mental health and behavioral health. And so around the lifeline signage piece, and so prevention efforts, this was also in the letter, but prevention efforts that focus on protective changes of the environment, such as the installation of different signage to help promote seeking help, and messages of hope, can really increase the likelihood of positive behavioral and health outcomes, and have a great potential to prevent suicide. They are listed in the CDC's technical package as best practices for suicide prevention. Here in Connecticut, from my understanding, I believe Yale just put in signs in their parking garages and has had some, positive feedback around that. And so ultimately, we just strongly feel that placing lifeline signage that highlights resources and messages of hope within our city's parking garages can be a positive and preventive message for those suffering from a mental health crisis, or also just opening up the awareness and the communication about it to help reduce that stigma around seeking for help. We currently, we worked for September. We had ads placed on all the train stations here in Norwalk that promoted 988. There is one of these signs that you see in this picture. There is one located at the Sono train station, and we are working with kind of some of the smaller organizations to get smaller signs put in place. But there's been partnerships outside of this grant that have placed 988 lifeline signages at our beaches, in shopping centers, as well as on buses and billboards. That being said, I am happy to answer any questions that you have around this, and thank you for the time.
So Kelly, do you have the grant yet, or?
Yes, yep, we've had the grant since 2022, and we were just given the update that we have been extended for one more year. So we have the grant until August of 2026.
Okay. And you mentioned smaller signage. So this one looks to be, 18 by 24 or something. So they'll be smaller than this one?
So this would be the signage that we would hope to place in the parking garages. These are the same ones that have been cleared for, highways. So if it has the reflective, factor, if you're driving with cars at night that can see it, it passed. I'm no expert, but it passed all of the rules and requirements to having, signs placed on, high traffic areas. And so, I have the dimensions in the letter I can grab for you if I can find my. So these are 24 by 30 aluminum signs with reflective sheeting and white text. We have the option. We have an all English sign like the one in the picture, and then we also have a new bilingual sign, English and Spanish, that we just picked up.
So Kelly, are all other signs always aluminum?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay. I asked because in the Sono train station, we have frames that currently we have many inspirational messages in today, but there's also opportunities for those. Did you have a location where you thought these would be more beneficial?
So I will really defer to that expertise of you all in terms of where you feel placement is best so that it doesn't kind of interfere with like visibility, or I don't, I'll let you guys kind of choose where we have enough signs that if you wanted them on multiple floors, that's an option. So I will really kind of lean on your expertise as to where you feel the placement would be best.
So in New Haven, so the ones in New Haven are up, right?
Yes.
So are those locations in there, and it's in a parking garage, right?
Yes, and I'm happy to follow up with my contact who was telling me about the Yale New Haven project to see where they had placed theirs, if that's helpful.
Yeah, some guidance might be.
For sure.
Yeah, might be good.
And that could be something we could work with Kelly on as well after tonight. I know we have some contacts in the New Haven Parking Authority as well that, or sorry, Park New Haven, that we can, if they're at Park New Haven locations, we can lean on them a little bit as well.
Yeah, if it is a Yale garage, it's a Park New Haven lot, and I'm assuming that was on probably the top floor, because I know that there's been a number of instances of a jumper. So would you suggest that these are on the top floor, on each of the floors, and outside? Like, do they provide any guidance with the signs where they are going to become most effective?
So the International Parking Institute, where we had received, where we pulled some of the statistics and data from, do have some guidelines in there around placement. But like I said, I'm happy to get that from Yale on how they made the decision. From just my thought, I would think the top would be the most impactful, just from a lethality perspective, that it would be the most helpful to have something placed on the top floor. And then if there was a possibility to put two, maybe by the entrance, so that people are driving in and out, it's just another reminder. But ideally, if it's only one per location, I would think the top floor of parking garages would be the recommended location.
Well, I think, there's probably a number of different places. Like if it's on the top floor, probably it'd be a couple, which should be a couple. It's a long garage, right? I think that, I think, from it's the board's perspective, you guys are responsible for managing the garage. But I think if we have, if I think if somebody approached the city and said, "Hey, you have a problem and we want to help you," like, I think if the, I think, as sad as it is, we should do what we could do to try to support this, would be my recommendation. And I think we could work with, I think we could work with Kelly at a later date at where it is, but I think a couple of people have their hands raised, so.
So I just want to make sure I understand if there's any financial implication. It sounds like you already have a grant to cover this, but is there a request for additional funding from Park Norwalk in some way?
So in terms of the health department, yes, we have all of this. We have the signage ready to go. All of it's ready in our office, so we can hand it over whenever needed.
So there's no additional cost. There's nothing else. It's just someone to place the signs, really.
Yeah, we're yes, just kind of working with the parking authority to identify where the best places would be, and then to have assistance kind of actually getting them placed in the garages.
Okay. Thank you for the clarity.
Yeah, of course.
Hi, Kelly. You said you have these in the New Haven parking garage. Did I understand that?
So our partners at United Way, who oversee some of this grant work, had shared that Yale had just put signage in place.
Okay. And how many at the train station or in Yale parking garages?
I don't know too
Oh.
many of the details. I apologize for that, but I
Okay.
am happy to, follow up and provide all of the,
No,
the
I
guide,
just-
that
yeah.
supplementary information.
And how many are we thinking here in our garages?
I will, again, I'll defer to you. I have 10 signs available, so, and really the signs, if you want all 10, they're yours. If you want just the bilingual ones, I do have 5 of those available. So I have 10 that the parking authority can use if you choose. But I would defer to your expertise as the parking
Okay.
authority to really choose how many and where.
And ultimately, the locations would be up to us.
Yes.
Okay.
And
And Eric, I guess we would decide on that at another meeting next month or something like that, or?
on the locations,
Yeah,
yeah, I think we could get into that later, at another, because I think there's some things that I think we all would appreciate, and one is, where are they in the New Haven locations? And are those, the theory behind it is that it would, the top level would be the most effective, but then Kelly mentioned maybe something near the vehicular entry too. So I guess what's the best theory behind the placement? Is it, because we're not gonna, I've never really contemplated anything like this before, so I was scratching my head until Jim said the top floor about where should they go. So I would if we're gonna move forward with it, I would appreciate just some information about the decision process about how to place them. And then I guess second question or another question is, are there other groups that would want to post about other issues that that this opens up? I mean, it doesn't feel like some sort of Pandora's box, but is it?
yeah, I think we'd have to wait and see. But I'd vote to accept the 10 signs, and then at a future meeting, we could talk about locations.
Is that a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to accept.
I
the 10.
think Matt still has his hand raised, so.
Okay, yes, he does. So.
Oh, I can't see that. I'm sorry, Matt.
Sorry, I had to navigate to unmute. Thanks, it's okay. So I just want to say, that I've had the distinct pleasure of working with Kelly on this grant in another hat that I've worn in another area that I've participated in. And I really, I have to say that this is just a very important thing for us to seriously consider. And I'm appreciative of the fact that, where it seems as though we're leaning towards putting these up. Given that this is from the city's health department, and it's backed by a grant, I don't think that we need to concern ourselves with this opening up a concern about other communication, because this is really just a direct communication from a nationally recognized, funded prevention helpline. I think that this is really just a means of averting crisis and mitigating risk of to others. So we can look to IPMI for recommendations on similar signage. I think that would be something that I would include in a motion. But I think putting these on our structures is very important, and for those who won't be looking for it, they won't see it, and I think we'll hope that those who do will.
Yeah. So Kellyanne, you're going to provide more information about the installation at New Haven, right?
Yes. Yep. And I'm happy to also ask, Eric, if you would like, about if Yale did address that potential of other signs being put, I'm happy to put that in my list of questions to them too, so that if they have an answer, it could be a little, you'll have something.
So maybe if, it sounds like we're headed toward a vote, if it's approved, then I would suggest that this be the only approval we have to do, that we don't need to come back and vote or even discuss locations as a group, that we let Kelly and her expertise work with Laz and staff to finalize those, and then just simply give us a report. Is that okay with everyone?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay. So Judd, you made a motion. That sounded like a second.
Second.
Okay. Is there any discussion? Okay, so then all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right, excellent. So that carries. So Kellyanne, thank you very much for what you're doing.
Thank you all so much. I really appreciate the partnership. Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Kelly.
So then back to the report section. Brian, that's going to be you?
Yes, sir. Thank you. So just got a few updates on a couple of the projects we're doing. The first one is the Haviland repair project. It started on the 28th of July. I know it's been a few minutes since we've all been together, so I just want to make sure we start from this. I got some feedback from somebody. Do you guys hear that?
Yeah.
Echo.
All right, but anyways, just want to make sure everyone's up to date on what's going on. The project is addressing a lot of the critical infrastructure issues. The concrete repairs commenced immediately, targeting the deteriorated areas. The agenda packet includes the photos that I'm showing here. That's showing the ongoing work by our contractor to restore the concrete. Is that echo really bad, or can I go through it?
It's not terribly bad on my end.
It's a struggle for me.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not sure who has it. Is anyone's thing like lighting up when I talk?
No, I think
I can deal with
Can
it.
everybody go on mute? If
Yep.
everyone goes on
Yeah.
mute, I think we'll get there.
Thank you. That's better. So the contractor's been doing a lot of the work, just restoring the concrete the last couple weeks. To minimize the disruption, the project was phased to maintain partial usage of the deck. However, repairs to the entry and exit plaza required a full closure, as no feasible alternative allowed for partial access during that phase. And then didn't come without extensive outreach to local businesses. The majority of the businesses on Washington that we reached out to preferred scheduling the closure before Labor Day. So accordingly, we closed the deck on August 25th, and we reopened on the 1st of September at 12 o'clock at noon. The closure, though challenging, was managed with careful planning to reduce the impact. Photos in the packet and on the screen highlight the necessary repairs to that entryway. It's that bottom right picture that you're looking at, which is underscoring the importance of the work that we're doing there. We appreciate the community's cooperation and remain committed to completing this project efficiently while prioritizing safety and accessibility. So like you could see on the pictures, just some of the work, some of the concrete on the ceiling, on the ceiling of on the bottom floor. See where it's fallen, just needed repairs. You see the patching, and also a broken tendon on the top right, and then that entry lane, or the entry, what do you call it? The entryway just being redone.
Yeah.
It also includes the agenda packet also includes several photos showcasing the repair work. The first image captures the intricate repair of a post tension cable. highlighting the skilled craftsmanship involved. I watched the guy do this and I was like floored by how amazing how he was fixing it. I was like, how do they fix these things? And it was really nice to see the skilled work and how he repaired those damaged tenants. Additional photos illustrate the concrete patching on the deck surface and the critical repairs to the entry exit plaza previously discussed. The final image shows the freshly painted fencing along Haviland Street, which is enhancing the deck's appearance and contribute to a very polished professional look. So it's going well. We still have some work to do, but the outreach and we've limited the headaches, and I think we're doing the contractor's doing really well.
Excellent. That's great. Thank you, Brian. So this will be completed, all the painting done, everything this fall, right?
That's the goal. That's the goal. I'm optimistic that we will hit that before December date.
Excellent. Great.
To the board, if I can, I just want to point out a couple things. I think Brian and the staff at Labs did an amazing job of doing outreach to businesses to find the closure time. While it's impossible to find a date that a deck could be closed that satisfies every single person, it would be impossible, right? So I think we did have, someone who was vocal, about the closure. But I have to reiterate, the closure wasn't because we were painting something. The closure was because we were clearing tension rods that had broken into concrete, and that if we do not repair them, the deck falls down, right? And I think this just, the fact that we're finding this much work, right, it really just solidifies the importance of the condition surveys that we've done, because that is what identified the problem. That is what led us to look to search for funding. Right. And that is what is going to ensure that we have a parking deck that can stand the test of time. So Brian's worked with the contractor, throughout the entire process. I think he's doing an amazing job. The contractor, yes, very skilled. I think they came in from Ohio for a week to do it, to get it down. We knew the entranceway was going to be the most, we're working through, keeping the garage open as we do other segments, but you can't have the garage, you can't have the entryway done and still have vehicles pass over it. But so it has been great. I think at the end of the day, there will be a lot of aesthetic improvements that we see to the garage. The fence painted black looks amazing.
Yeah.
The light fixtures will be amazing when they're done. Right. It will be modernized. We'll have new stairs and we'll update. But this is the unsexy stuff that I think many people in the community really take for granted. And I think, Eric, you might want to speak to this later as you talk about it with the letter. Is just like the actual importance of the work that we do in ensuring that these structures remain, intact and that they're safe. So kudos to Brian and the team. I think they did an amazing job. And I think, a 1 week disruption for as much work as we got done that week was they worked all the time. So they were, every single time I was out there, they were busily working on this deck. So I think good job by all. But Peter, I think you have your answer. You're on mute, Peter.
Yeah, I just wanted to add a couple of things, and plus the sound for me is not so good. So if someone already went over this, I apologize. I am all into maintenance. I mean, I think you save in the long run for sure, and that's part of why we're here. But are heavy trucks allowed, like garbage trucks or any heavy weighted trucks allowed to go up on the deck there? And you understand the point that I'm getting to, because they can wreak havoc on a deck. So just if you'd tell me what the trucks are that are allowed to go up there.
No trucks. The garbage trucks have to bring out the dumpsters down the sidewalk and off on Haviland Street for them to pick it up.
That's great. That answers my question.
There's a bar right at the front gate. If you look at the lower picture in the center, that's the height restriction that doesn't let anything go past there.
I use the garage all the time. I just probably never looked for that bar, but that's great.
All right, awesome. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you. And then the next quick update is the next phase of the aesthetic enhancements at Yankee Doodle.
I think if everyone can go on mute again, sorry, Brian, but
Yeah,
you're
please.
echoing
Sorry.
again when everyone was on mute, you were perfect.
Okay. Oh, sorry. So just quick update on the next phase of the aesthetic enhancements at Yankee Doodle. Happy to announce that the contract with the contractor Gilberto and Sons has been fully executed. The project commencement scheduled for next week. Community outreach efforts have already began. We're making sure the local businesses, permit holders, and as far as extent transient customers to ensure a smooth process here. Just like we always do. We did it for the first concrete repairs at Yankee Doodle last year. We did it for Haviland. We're doing the same thing with this. And as another reminder, this project includes the power washing of the facade, painting of the exterior ribs, concrete ribs, the blue and white community chosen color, the stairwells, elevator landings, and the first floor ceiling. So it's really going to brighten up the garage, make it a little safer, make it look nicer. And then, upcoming, we'll be discussing the next phase of this project, as well as the concrete repairs that we're going to start to work on shortly. But that's to come in later months. But it's exciting that we're starting next week on this.
That's terrific. So timing wise on this piece of it, would this be finished by the December holidays?
It's a good question. I'll know more tomorrow when I meet with the contractor. The hope is yes. But we're getting into October now, so I do get worried that, if the power washing gets delayed, the contractor is very, very motivated to get this done before the end of the year.
Excellent. Okay.
I will add that I stood in for Brian at the Wall Street Neighborhood Association meeting that was fairly well attended. We gave updates to the Wall Street project, and I gave Brian's update about the garage. And when we talked about the fact that the day that we did the meeting was the day that we did the sample colored painting on the segments of the ridges that we cut off at the back, ribs rather. And we got a thunderous round of applause when we said we were finally moving forward with beginning the painting. People were extremely excited, right? So we also had the mayoral candidates there, and we got more applause than anybody else. So
that's great. That's awesome.
So I think the community is the local community at least is very interested, I think, and also appreciative over the financial contributions to facilities in their neighborhood. So
excellent. That's terrific. Thank you. So Rocky?
Yes, good evening, everyone. But before we start, I'm getting into the numbers. Louis could not join us today. He's on vacation. I just want to bring that up before we go into the numbers. Right, go next page. Looking overall, looking at summarizing, we missed budgeted parking revenue by 6% for the month and 4.6% on a year to date, and the underperformance for missing the budgeted number came mainly from for the month and the year to date came mainly from Sono area locations, specifically for Maritime Garage, Haviland Deck, and Webster Lot. On the positive side, the revenue miss that we experienced from the decline transient activity was offset by saving an expense, giving us a net operating fund balance over budget for the month end as well as year to date. Looking at the different revenue buckets excuse me, looking at the different revenue buckets for the month's transient revenue, as stated above, was under budget, and again, mainly coming from the Sono facilities. On the meter side, we outperformed budget, and this is coming mainly from bagged revenue as well as increased meter activity in the Wall Street and West Avenue area. On the permit side, if you look at it, the numbers showing up we're under budget, and that is not due to a performance, but mainly missing because of timing of payment from permit Parker at the YMCA lot. Parking violation is under budget for the month and year to date. We believe this is the increased compliance coming in the Sono and Wall Street and West Avenue area, coupled with reduced declining construction activity in the West Ave area. Let's go into variance report for the month. Variance report, payroll and related was under budget, and this is mainly due to budget miss. When we prepared the budget, the 3 pay period were budgeted for the month of August, and that's going to balance it out as we go further. But the 3 pay period is in October, so we there was an error on our end preparing the budget for the year. On a building and repair and maintenance, there were concrete repair budgeted at the Webster lot, and then some electrical works both at Maritime and South Norwalk train station garage that were not get paid, but that is why we are under budget on a building and repair and maintenance. On snow removal, that is there is an agreement with Spinnaker for during snow season that we take care of the invoice, the snow cleanup, and then we bill them back for the portion of their parking space. And the payment came in late in August, and that's why we're seeing a negative balance in the expense line item. It's a positive favorable for us, but it is that is why we have that negative balance in the snow expense. Utility expenses came under budget. There's one invoice missing for Yankee Doodle Garage, which is minimal, but usually during this time of the month, the utility expenses are higher, and during the cold season, that's when utility expenses get higher, and that's why we're under budget for the month. Equipment expense, that is the approved purchase of vehicle. We haven't secured the vehicles yet, so that is why it is showing up. And I ask we going forward, we're going to start accruing this balance, so when the payment for the vehicle payment doesn't hit 1 month and throwing the numbers off.
Those vehicles will be purchased in the next couple of weeks, just so the board is aware.
All right. And this is the full package of the financial statement. I'll pause there for if anyone has any question on the financial statement. On the next title is the 50 minutes usage. As you can see from the data, from prior month, from July, we have a 3% increase on the 15 minutes usage. That is the digital option of using the 15 minutes free parking as a pilot was rolled out in August. So there were, out of the 4,178 transactions, there were 50 transactions that were done digitally through the scan to pay. And from the start, comparing this from the start of our, measuring the 15 minutes usage, we have our 26% increase in just within 6 months. So we're seeing a positive trend in the usage of the 15 minutes option in all the time, all over the on-street spaces.
I do want to add something really quick to the board on this. So we were contacted by some high school seniors from Mamaroneck High School about the 15-minute operation, and they were doing a project on the effects of this kind of thing for a city. And I think the city of Larchmont asked, I'm not sure if they asked them to do it, but Rocky and I spoke to them this week. It was a very good conversation, and it's something that I want to express that we are the only city doing this, and it's leading others to look at it and see if they can implement it in their own cities. So it's another bonus of Park Norwalk and how innovative and forward thinking we are to help businesses give other parking solutions to their customers to allow for different types of quick in and out business.
That's terrific. Sirak, the scan to pay is something that it's the QR code is on the pay station, right?
The QR codes are on the signs that we have. We're piloting that in 4 streets just to get feedback from customers on the design of the sign. And, so we piloted that in 4 streets, Washington Street, River, Mott, and High Street. Those are the signage, just not on the
Okay. So are each of those QR codes unique or are they the same?
They are unique. So the QR codes for one zone are separate. So if you scan it on South Main and it's going to show you only South Main. So it's not all over the place the same one, specifically by zone number.
So moving forward, when that gets expanded, each QR code will be unique.
That is correct. Yes.
Okay. And then not so much on the financials, but on the usage numbers, as particularly moving into, at some point, we're going to have a discussion about rates. On the usage, you have data that tells the usage in the different facilities around the city, right?
That is correct. Yes.
Okay. Because if Sono is shifting, it'd be interesting to know where it's increasing or staying the same.
Correct. Yep. We divvied it up in these 3 areas: Sono, Wall Area, and West Avenue.
Yes.
And within those specific areas as well, we can pinpoint which street is using the most 15 minutes parking and which streets are not using it.
So Park Mobile app, do they give you reports of, or is it meaningful information if they give you reports of within each zone how much usage the app gets?
Park Mobile is not providing this 15 minutes free parking.
No, I mean just usage in general. So if somebody parks and uses the app, do they give you a report of how many parkers in a particular zone use the app?
That is correct. We can track that from the Park Mobile report.
Okay.
That if no one has any questions, the rest of the package is supporting document for the financial we discussed. If there's no questions, that would be the presentation for ops report.
Excellent, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Rocky.
Thank you.
Okay, the agenda back on.
Not yet.
Okay. There we go.
Awesome, thank you. So the new business, I sent everyone the letter that Brian and Jim and I put together, and I submitted to the Hour and to Nancy on Norwalk. I've been on Nancy on Norwalk a couple of times to see how, if there's any analytics of it, but I haven't been on it a couple of days, so I don't know if it's gotten much traction on there. But I just wanted everybody to sort of chime in and see what you thought of it, and then talk about how to either do this again in the future or some version of it, or just get everybody's thoughts on in the meeting.
Now, if I may just kind of add just some feedback to this, because when I saw that request, when I heard your request of what some of the other chairmen on what we should do on an annual basis, one thing that TMP does very well is at the end of the year we do an end of the year report. Where Park Norwalk, I have a section of Park Norwalk and what we did. So maybe it's a version of that we send out and publish to the public on what we did in the past year, what's upcoming, and just keep people informed of the business of Park Norwalk on an annual basis on a high level.
That sounds good.
You know, I agree, and I do think I want to chime into what a number of the commissioners had said in this, in that I think it is important that we remember that we have an obligation to tell people what we're doing, right? And that and we can't complain if people don't understand if we never told them, right? And I think this was a way of getting it out, and I think we've done fairly good job of like getting word out to local parts of the community that where our work is affected. Like, I think if you were to go to Wall Street, for example, they are very well aware of the work that has been done, in the facilities. They have commented on the cleanliness of the facilities, right? And those are, those are just minor things, but we listed major things, but I do think we've talked on a number of occasions about getting additional specific resources to talk about, for lack of a better term, marketing, right? And it's not necessarily always has to be marketing, but it has to be about what we're doing, right? I think when we do the opening of the Haviland parking deck, we will do a ribbon cutting, right? Because we're gonna introduce a really a great staircase. We're gonna introduce a new look to something, but like when we did $1.5 million improvements to the Sono Garage, we didn't do a ribbon cutting, right? We did a ribbon cutting for the taco guy, right? But finding a way that really connects into more of what we do, and I think that maybe it is some way to pay advertise into Facebook messaging that gets it into a broader reach, and gets it into the hands that we do. And I think one of the things, so today we did a press announcement for the West Rock sidewalks, and one of the things that we did there is we invested in lawn signs that just says another sidewalk improvement project underway, right? And then a link to the website to give information about it, because what we had is I think this was a great example of where I'm going is we did a great job of outreach to the people who live on West Rocks, and we literally hand delivered letters to every single house to say, here's the project, here's the details, here's the contractor, here's your project manager, here's his phone number, here's his email address, here's our anticipated completion date, here's when we're going to close for the holidays, right? And then when we're going to be in your house, in front of your house again, we'll get in touch with you 48 hours in advance. Those people were fine. Well, some of them still ask questions, what are we doing? But it was all the other people that drive by and use it that we weren't able to get to. So we put these signs up as a way to do it. And maybe it'll work, maybe it won't work, but I think we need to start throwing things against the wall to get it out there, because to the issue of students are reaching out to Brian and Rocky about the free 15-minute parking option means somehow we're getting a little bit of the word out, right? They heard about it there, right? And they heard about it enough to say, hey, I'm a student looking to do a paper. I want to do something on it, right? And so I think we need to figure out, we do invest in marketing, right? In our budget every year, and maybe a portion of that budget is taken out and to hire someone who can give direct outreach assistance to Brian to do social media ads. I think we all think that everyone could be a social media expert, but the reality is there are social media experts that can get the message out in a better job than we can do it, right? They know the buttons to push, and I think we need to try to find those people.
Jim, those are all good points, because the suggestion that this be a letter like this or something like this be an annual occurrence makes a lot of sense. But as we've all talked about before, consistent messaging directly related to Park Norwalk, I think would go a long way in getting that message out there. Because, I don't know a whole lot about social media marketing, but as any marketing, consistency is a big deal. And so I think it would be worth us discussing using some of the money that we've already allocated for efforts like this to go in the direction Jim just mentioned, and let's get some professional help. Now, tonight's not the time for that discussion. I don't think it probably needs a little bit more time than this. But I think it's a great idea to have the discussion and figure and look at how we could benefit if there's direct messaging related to Park Norwalk.
And I do think it might be beneficial to include on the monthly agenda what our marketing and outreach efforts have been that month, right? So that is going to be as important as the operations, as important as the financials that we review every day, and it should have its own place. And we have to, and if it's on there every day, we have to report on it every day, right?
Yeah, and it's really, I guess, it's really more of a PR campaign than it is marketing. Just to keep our messaging in front of on whatever the outlets are, just to keep it consistently out there.
Yeah. So yeah, public relations and outreach, right? So because I think the outreach portion could be where we do really great job of getting community meetings together, and that's a way to get to targeted messages. But Jessica, I really would love for opportunity. Maybe me, you, and Brian get to sit at another time and kind of pick your brain about how we could do it, because I think as the group really put this together, it was a learning process, right? To look at all the other things that we do and have it done. And I think it's great. And I think that we were pushed into doing it by comments that others were making that may be well intended, but has a substantial financial impact, I think, to everyone. And that the only way to bypass it is to get better wording out. And I think that if we view it as important as we do the other standard items that are on our agenda, I think that we'll grow into making this something that is, driving the business.
Yeah, I agree.
I have some ideas, so I'll be happy to meet.
Fantastic. Brian, you heard her. Get her, knock her down, lock her down.
I was bothering her earlier today.
And Peter has his hand raised.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that it's all good. What Jim you're saying is excellent, and Eric too. It all works. It all works a little bit. Unfortunately, you can't just nail one thing and expect it to be a blanket over everything. It's all got to be done, because you're going to get different audiences every different thing that you do. So I would just keep doing a little bit of everything, and hopefully it'll kind of catch on.
Yeah. Thank you, Peter. Okay, so if there's no further discussion on this, there was one more item there.
That was we already we moved that item ahead.
Yeah, okay.
Then it's down to the old business, sir.
So is there, let me move my.
Old business.
Yeah, so the taco grand opening we had, which was very well attended. It was, and the food was great.
Yeah, Adrian is a hungry entrepreneur. He's got good food. I ate their lunch today, so it's really exciting. And it was a really, like you said, Chairman, it was a really well attended grand opening.
Yeah, well, it's a perfect spot, and I think he's the perfect business to be in there, and we wish him well.
Then the only other update that I wanted to give on old business, could we mute again, please? Thank you. Appreciate it. This is just a quick update on the residential parking program ordinance. No action or discussion is needed or to be taken, but We felt it important to inform the board and the public that the ordinance committee of the Common Council is holding a public meeting on October 21st. I believe it's at 7 p.m. That's what it says. Yeah, 7 p.m. On the proposed the residential parking program ordinance, which is found in your packet and on your screen. If an ordinance gets approved by the Common Council, we will then have more to discuss and plan.
Excellent. So I believe that's the, yeah. So if there's nothing further, we could have a motion to adjourn.
And our next meeting is October 22nd. Sorry to interrupt you, sir.
No, no problem. So we have a motion.
So moved.
Thank you, Matt. Second.
I'll second that.
All right, excellent. All in favor? Aye. So I can't see anybody that was in.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Yes. I,
Hi.
All right,
unanimous.
dude. Great. Thanks, everyone. Have a great evening.
Have a good night.
All right.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.